What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. As you can see, last night I worked regular patrol, so I'm working on like 24 hours of being awake. I need this coffee. I've been in meetings all day and I finally just got out, and it's 22 hours for you non-military folk. That means it's 2:22 p.m. So let's get started. You're watching Westville Weekly and I'm Lieutenant Rosa. All right, I'm back. Another eventful week, so let's get right to it. We had 3 motor vehicle break-ins this past week. One on the 23rd. It was on Merlin Drive. The only thing taken from that vehicle was the vehicle's registration. I don't know why they would steal the registration, but that's what they wanted to steal. Now on the 24th, Lakeview Terrace. The vehicle was ransacked inside, but nothing was taken. And then on the 26th, the third vehicle was on Blake Street, and stolen out of there was a purse containing credit cards and IDs. One commonality with all these vehicles, guess what? They were left unlocked. I say week after week after week, please lock your vehicles, Westville. Please lock these vehicles. With all these vehicles here, there was no evidence or anything to collect for our officers, and no cameras, nothing of that nature. Unfortunately, moving on, we had 2 robberies. One happened on the 25th. This happened on Fountain Street. This robbery can actually be classified as a home invasion because it was a burglary coupled with a felony that was committed inside. There's a guy, he's home, he's on his computer playing video games. He receives a call from his girl that's a friend, and she says, "Hey, I have another friend that would you like to meet her?" He says, "Fine, yeah, come over." She comes over. She comes into his apartment. She opens up the front door. After she was there for a little bit, she opens up the front door, and as soon as she does that, 2 unknown males come in through the front door. One is armed with a handgun. They put the handgun to the victim's head. They force him on the ground. A brief struggle ensues between the 2. The second subject goes through the apartment. What ends up being taken was 1 cell phone. They flee the scene. This victim knows who the girl is, obviously, and possibly one of the males with the handgun. He gave us an address. Detectives are on that case now. This sounds similar to an incident that we had last week where a female is setting up the male. So, gentlemen, please be careful on who's your friend. 1605 Whaley Avenue. Again, another robbery. This happened last week. Again, Regal Inn. The victim's in the hotel room with 2 other friends. One that he only knows the first name of. And they hear a knock at the door. He opens up the door, and there's an unknown black male there, pushes his way into the hotel room, and then maces our victim in the face. All 3 males at that point jump onto the victim, hold him down, put him in some type of chokehold. They go through his pockets, and they steal $160 of cash. Again, be careful who you're hanging out with. These are setups. These are not random acts of violence. These are complete setups that are happening in Westville lately. So no reason for everyone to get alarmed by these. Yes, one is classified possibly as a home invasion. However, it was a complete setup, so don't get alarmed by that. And we would like to end it on a high note like we do every week. We had a car theft, which they stole the car, which I wouldn't want to say that's a high note, but the good thing about it is that we caught the car thief. A gentleman leaves his car running at Stop and Shop on Amity Road. Another guy jumps into the truck, it's a Nissan Frontier, and takes off down Whaley Avenue. Our officers intercept that vehicle on Whaley and Harrison, but when they stop the vehicle that was stolen strikes the back of another vehicle. And then the perpetrator takes off running. And he runs through the parking lot of Becky Synagogue. Speaking of, thank you, Becky. Enhance. Give a shout out to Becky. Thank you for the mug. I'm using it right now. I need it. Anyways, they run through the parking lot. They apprehend the subject right down in front of a school on Valley Street. And who they arrest is a Larry Edmondson. Again, a Larry Edmondson was arrested for stealing that vehicle.
Running into the Temple parking lot. Get down. Get down.
Valley Police. He's going down towards the parking lot. Valley Police. Where, Pat?
Towards PD2. Get the out.
I'm at Emerson.
Turn around. Turn around. Turn the around. I got him by daycare. Turn the Stay down. I'm good. Turn around. Turn around. Get the other arm. You. Yep. Get that.
What do we get?
So kudos to our officers. Job well done. Thank you very much. And awesome job. Our officers are on it. Thank you very much. Now, time for
Q&A.
Q&A. You want to be on the video? One of my officers just walked in. Ran to the bathroom. All right, so some Q&A. Let's get right to it. So we had a viewer ask in the last video in the comment section, well, what if our neighbors or people in our apartment complex are smoking marijuana? Smoking so much marijuana that it's making the smoke detectors go off. So, great question. Thank you for the question. I did a little research on it, and there's some things that I want to give you some tips to. Number one thing, ask your landlord if there's any smoke-free units, right? So, we do know that marijuana will be legal in the state one of these days, and most of these marijuana users do have their medical marijuana card, so they are smoking legally. So ask your landlord if there's any smoke-free units. Number two, is there anything in the lease that refers to smoking? So maybe it says something about, you want to be on the video?
Not at all.
You sure? He ran out. All right, so see if there's anything in the lease that refers to smoking. So if that's the case, your landlord may be willing to terminate your lease. And if it's fruitful for you to leave that lease, or it's enticing for you to leave that lease and go somewhere else, that you can possibly find a smoke-free apartment. For the landlords, this may be something that you want to start exploring. Decide whether you want your units to be smoke-free or allowing people to smoke. I did contact our housing court and I asked them if there was any crime against it, and because everyone's smelling the marijuana smoke, and there is no crime against it. And I called our LCI personnel. Again, there's no ordinance or anything against it. So we have to treat it like smoking cigarettes. So you landlords out there, you might want to start deciding whether you're going to be a smoke-free or a smoke zone. So it's totally up to you. If you have any other questions, like going further, just type a question down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to research it and answer it for you. All right? So until then, again, this is Elliot Rosa signing off. Thank you for watching Westville Weekly.